Selection Monday continues from our NJCAA headquarters in Charlotte, North Carolina. Hey everybody, I'm Zach McKinstry, and we can't wait to unveil the 24 teams that will be traveling to Hutchinson, Kansas for another fantastic rendition of the NJCAA Division I Men's Basketball Championship. Welcome into the NJCAA Division I Men's Basketball Selection Show, presented by Digital Scoreboards. 24 teams, 16 district champs have automatically qualified. 8 at-large bids sit on the bubble and hope their name is called. The top 8 overall seeds have byes into the second round in a single elimination tournament March 21st to the 28th. All games available on ESPN Plus until that national championship game, which will be played Saturday the 28th at 3 p.m. Central on ESPNU. We cannot wait for this tournament and the talent that will be competing, so let's go ahead and dive in to our opening matchups. It starts with the 16 and the 17, and let's open up with the number 16 seed. Jones. The Bobcats claimed a third straight district title in hard-fought fashion, taking down a ranked Itawamba squad in overtime. Dylan Rowe had a triple-double in that contest, but similar to the rest of the season, the Bobcats had a bunch of different players that had big contributions. 3 players have tallied over 500 points this year, led by sophomore guard Jay Tyler and his 17.6 points per game. So Jones and the Bobcats in as the 16. They'll get the 17 in our first at-large bid. Daytona State. The FCSAA runner-up won 8 of their last 9 games going into the championship game against Chipola, but fell short 76-69. That doesn't stop the Falcons' season, though, who are headed to Hutch for the 3rd straight year under head coach Joey Cantons. DSC has a lot of experienced sophomores that can score, like Noah Mindy and his 18 points per game. A fun guard battle in the opening contest, and the winner of that game will advance to the second round to play our number 1 overall seed. The top dog in this tournament is Howard. Not many people saw this coming at the start of the season. The Hawks finished 19-11 last year and were not in the top 25 in the first poll of the season. Since then, Coach Kyle Cooper's squad has turned everyone's heads, going 29-4 and claiming a Southwest District title in one of the most talented areas of the country. Terry Copeland will be one of the most sought-after freshmen in this tournament field, averaging 19 points and 7 rebounds this season. We'll talk to Coach Cooper later in the show, but congratulations to Howard as the top seed. On to our next set of matchups. The 9 plays the number 24. The 9 seed is another at-large bid. Snow. The Badgers were the number 1 team in the last poll of the year, but skidded to the finish line, losing 3 of their last 4 contests, including a close Region 18 championship loss to Southern Idaho. Regardless, this is a very dangerous team under head coach Andrew May, looking to avenge the first-round upset in the tournament last year. This starting 5 has a lot of experience, led by 2 redshirt sophomores in McCaden Adams and Brock McClure, and they are going to be a tough out as the 9 seed. So they'll get an opening round matchup with the number 24 team in this tournament field. Trinidad State. The Trojans have been tournament bound every year since 2022, but this year featured a lot of ups and downs, 17-16 overall, but undefeated in March to win the Region 9 crown. Lateef Patrick was the star of Trinidad State last time around, and this year freshman Demore Pritchett has filled into those shoes nicely. He'll look to perform in Hutch. So 24-9 is Trinidad State and Snow, and the winner will get the number 8 seed. That's Butler. The Grizzlies return to the national tournament after navigating an always competitive Jayhawk conference, rallying from 11 points down to defeat Barton in the Region 6 championship. The overall record at 24-9 is enough to sneak into the first round bye, powered by yet another talented freshman in this field, Tristan Hankins. They'll await the winner of Snow and Trinidad State. Moving along, how about the 13 and the 20 matchup? The number 13 seed is Monroe. The Mustangs blew out Harcum by 40 points to claim their 10th district title in program history and to become one of the first teams in this field to punch their ticket. Monroe played a really tough non-conference schedule, battling with a number of Florida schools and Arizona schools before sweeping through their region, winning 20 straight games. Congratulations to the Mustangs. They will play the number 20 seed. Mineral Area. In his second season, head coach Tony Irons takes this program back to the national tournament for the first time since the 2021 season. The Cardinals took control in March, winning a Region 16 title over Three Rivers before dominating Malcolm X in the district championship. Sophomore forward Nazir Allen leads this team in points and rebounds. He'll headline the tough matchup with Monroe. 13 versus 20 on Saturday evening is for the right to play the number 4 overall team in the second round. Trinity Valley. The defending national champs are back. This year's team had a 28-5 overall record, but once again they're playing their best basketball when it matters down the stretch, winning 11 of their last 12 games. This is another really good defense, holding opponents to less than 60 points per game on average and just 37% from the field. The Cards know how to win in March, and head coach Greg Heyer might get the chance to play his old team in Mineral Area, depending on how that first round shakes out. So Trinity Valley is the 4 seed. Moving on to our last first round game on the left side of the bracket, it's the 12 against the 21, and the 12 seed is South Plains. Another at-large bid that will continue their season. South Plains' streak of tournament appearances will move to 3 years in a row. A 24-win season ended with a loss in the final seconds to Midland in the region semifinal, but head coach Cinco Boone's squad will still make it to Hutch on the backs of a really deep roster that features 6 players averaging double figures. They'll get the number 21 seed. NOC Enid. What a year for the Jets, who claimed their first ever Region 2 tournament title and second ever NJCAA tournament appearance with their win over Western Oklahoma State. Northern Oklahoma College Enid finished 20-13, but that included a 1-point win over the top seed in this tournament at the start of the season and winning every game in the region tournament by an average of 12 points. So the winner of the 12 and 21 will get the number 5 seed. Chipola. The Indians have won 8 of 9 games heading into this tournament, fighting through a really tough Panhandle Conference to punch their ticket. Donnie Tyndall's squad is top 10 in the country in blocks per game and are focused on making a run in Hutch this year after going one and done each of the last 2 seasons. All right, on to the right side of the bracket, which opens up with the 15 and 18 matchups, which gives us an at-large against an at-large matchup. The number 15 team in the field is Barton. The 2024 champs had a pretty shaky start to 2026, going 2-6 for a stretch in conference play before turning things around in a big way. The Cougars won 10 straight games heading into the region playoffs, making it to the district finals before a 74-point second half from Butler kept them from an automatic bid. Barton does a great job of getting to the free throw line. They lead the country in attempted and made free throws, and they'll attempt to stay hot in Hutchinson. They play the number 18 seed in our 5th at-large bid, New Mexico. It's the first time in over a decade that the Thunderbirds are going dancing, finishing 26-6 with wins over both Howard and South Plains. This T-Bird squad is known for putting up a lot of threes and forcing a lot of turnovers, both of which rank in the top 5 in the NJCAA. Sophomore guard RJ Nance leads this lineup into Kansas. Congratulations to the Thunderbirds. So Barton and NMJC will look to advance to the second round to play the number 2 seed in the field. College of Southern Idaho. What a year for the Golden Eagles, who won 21 of their last 22 games on the season, which included a come-from-behind OT win at Cochise to claim the district crown. CSI needed a 66-point second half in the game to force OT, where they would take their first lead of the game to advance to the national tournament for the first time since 2023. 5 different Golden Eagles players are putting up 10 or more points a game, but Jalen Lynn is the hot hand after 31 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists in that district champ. All right, to our next cluster of games, which gives us the 10 versus the 23, the 10 seed. Walters State. The Senators went 30-1 this year thanks to one of the most electric offenses in junior college basketball. Jerry Nichols' squad is averaging over 100 points per game and is leading the country in team assists per game with 24.4. Even with all those offensive numbers, it was the defense that got it done for WSCC in the district final, holding Columbia State to a 27-point second half to rally back and punch their ticket to their 10th tournament in program history. They get the number 23 seed, South Georgia State. The Hawks went 23-10 to advance to Hutchinson for the second straight year. It was not an easy path either. That GCAA tournament produced some close matchups, winning by 4 points in the semis and 1 in the final to make it through. This is another team that capitalizes on mistakes, forcing more than 20 turnovers per game on average, second highest in the NJCAA. Winner will play the number 7 seed and the best at-large seed in the tournament, Midland. Tall City started this year 18-0 before hitting a rough patch in late January, but the Chaps righted the ship before playoffs, making the district final. They will be selected back to Hutch for the first time since the 2023 campaign, and head coach Isaac Fontenot-Amedy has put together a really good roster with a number of players that'll be getting Division I looks. Okay, we move to the number 14 and number 19 contest. Number 14 is Gulf Coast State. Another at-large bid from Florida. The Commodores are headed to Hutch for the first time since their selection in the 1920 season. GCSC is a top 10 three-point shooting team in junior college basketball, making more than 10 per game on average, and they showcase one of the premier guards in the field, with sophomore Trent Lincoln earning FCSAA Player of the Year. So their first test will be the number 19 seed, Brunswick. The Dolphins will return to Hutch for the second straight season after falling to Barton in their first-round matchup last year. This is another up-tempo, high-scoring offense in the tournament field, pouring in 94.2 points per game. Linwood Rowe leads all Brunswick players with 13 points a game this year, but there are a number of bucket getters up and down this roster. Whoever wins that contest will play the number 3 seed in the second round, Indian Hills. Make it 5 straight seasons in Hutchinson for the Warriors, who won 30 of 32 games this year and held on in the second half against Dawson to clinch their spot. Head coach Cole Dewey's squad is holding opponents to just 38% from the field, which is top 10 in the NJCAA. On top of the defense, there are a lot of scorers on this team as well, with 5 players averaging 10 or more. On to the 11 versus 22 matchup. The 11 seed is the final at-large team announced and the last team that will be added to the tournament field. Continuing their season is Northwest Florida State. The third at-large bid from Florida is the Raiders, who are Hutch-bound after missing the tournament last year. This whole region just beat each other up all season long. Northwest Florida went 25-7 and then lost to Chipola in the FCSAA semis. As a team, they are shooting 50% from the field, which is 5th best in the country. They will get the number 22 seed, Bishop State. Out of Mobile, Alabama, the Wildcats have found some magic in March, defeating Southern Union State and then Shelton State to make it through. It's the first tournament trip under head coach Trent Eager, who looks to show off this deep and talented young roster, which has 5 freshmen scoring 10 or more per game. One team is yet to be announced, and that is the 6th seed, who will get a first-round bye, Vincennes. It's the 13th tournament trip in the last 14 seasons for the Trailblazers and head coach Todd Franklin, who led Vincennes to a national title in 2019. It was an all-time Region 24 title game to lock up their auto bid, taking down John A. Logan 71-70, where the Vols had a shot to win it, but it did not go. This year's team has a really strong trio of guards. Jalen Calloway, Dayton Williams, and Dre Vassar are the 3 top scorers, with Calloway putting up 27 points in that win over John A. Logan. That is the whole tournament field, so let's zoom out and take a look at the full bracket. The top 8 seeds, Howard, Butler, Trinity Valley, Chipola, CSI Midland, Indian Hills, and Vincennes, all of those teams getting first-round byes. And then in the opening round matchup, Jones, Daytona State, Snow and Trinidad State, Monroe Mineral Area, South Plains, NOC Enid, and on the other side, Barton, New Mexico, Walter State, South Georgia State, Gulf Coast State and Brunswick, and then Northwest Florida State and Bishop State to round out this tournament March 21st to the 28th. All right, do not go anywhere. In a moment, we'll come back and chat with the #1 seed head coach Kyle Cooper out of Howard. Then we will talk with the committee chair Tom McDonald and JUCO JM to give their thoughts on the tournament field. Back in a moment on the NJCAA Network.
For the last 87 years, the NJCAA has provided academic and athletic opportunities to thousands of student athletes. However, several rules make it more challenging for two-year college transfers. Recently, 16 national coaches associations, led by the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association, sent a request for change to NCAA leadership to make the rules the same for all transfers. We commend their leadership and stand together in support of same game, same rules.
Welcome back to the NJCAA Network and our NJCAA Division I Men's Basketball Selection Show presented by Digital Scoreboards. Joining us now, head coach of the #1 overall seed, the Howard Hawks. It is head coach Kyle Cooper. Thanks so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me, man. We're excited to go to Hutch and to represent Howard and the Big Spring community.
Yeah, that was going to be my first question. What's kind of the excitement levels around getting the #1 seed now? Howard having the target on their backs on the national stage.
Yeah, I mean it's really exciting. I mean our guys have worked really hard, so just happy for them, happy for our school and for our community, both who just pour so much into our athletes, and it's exciting times. Very excited.
You get to coach one of the most electric freshmen in all of the NJCAA, and Terry Copeland. How much has he meant to this team, and on the run that you guys have been on this year? How much has he meant?
Oh, he's been amazing, man. He's the heart of our team. He's an everyday guy. I tell everyone, for as great of a basketball player as he is, he's a better person. You know, he really makes us go. So again, couldn't ask for anything more out of him. He's a dominant force.
Yeah, well, Coach, you have constructed one of the top defenses, not only in the tournament field, but in all of the country. Only 65 points per game against, and really stifling the opponent's field goal percentage as well. So what's kind of been the secret to that defense and the culture that you've built with Howard?
You know, I would really say it's just our guys we recruited. I mean, they get the credit for that. They buy into what we're saying, and they're very selfless. I mean, on the defensive side, they take pride in guarding and making winning plays, and they've been just a tough group overall. You know, so fun group to coach. Hopefully, we can continue going for a little bit longer.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun in Hutch, a lot of top teams, and Howard getting the #1 seed. Coach, thanks again. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Excited to get to Hutch. Appreciate all you guys do, and it's going to be exciting times.
There you go, Coach Kyle Cooper of the Howard Hawks. Getting that #1 overall seed. So do not go anywhere on the NJCAA Network. When we return, we talk with the Division I Men's Basketball Committee Chair Tom McDonald about the entire seeding process. Great conversation with him, and we'll be back in a moment.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
Welcome back into the NJCAA network and our NJCAA Division I men's basketball selection show presented by Digital Scoreboards. Joining us now, the committee chair of the NJCAA D1 men's basketball. It is Tom McDonald. Thank you so much for hopping on with us and excited to talk about this exciting tournament.
We are. It's been a great, exciting, challenging, about 24, 48 hours, but we've been at this for a long, long time. The committee spends an unbelievable amount of time outside of just the normal meetings every week where we sit and go through every region and every conference and every team and how they played. But this is a commitment from this committee. They do an unbelievable job of kind of setting the table for what we're going through right now.
Yeah, I know one of the talking points coming in was Tallahassee, CC, and their team. I know you guys spent a lot of time on it in the committee and in the selection process. So talk about what went into those conversations and what the overall consensus was for the committee.
Well, it was a difficult situation. Region 8's got a unique, two different conferences, and then they come together and play a regional tournament or a district tournament. And one side of it gets less teams than the other. So I think it puts them in a real tough situation. And they had a tiebreaker issue and they all tied. And then it came down to their constitution and bylaws, and it set the table with Tallahassee not making the regional tournament. And then our committee, they do a good job of kind of following the handbook, following the NJCAA handbook. First thing is NJCAA Division I wins, and then next one is ranked wins, and then Division II and III wins, and then the next one is a thing called placement participation in their regional or district tournament, and then the last one I think is the national tournament or national polls. And really the committee really came to consensus of having to check every box, and every box was checked except the participation and placement into the regional tournament. And I think the committee really looked at entire body of work, and one of those boxes wasn't checked. And so it made it a lot of conversation and a lot of deliberation and talking and just seeing where we're at. And they came to the decision that not having all those boxes checked really put them in a tough place. And then we just made the decision that we're going to go a different direction, and that's kind of how it all kind of worked out. And we had 20 teams at large bids. And, when you're going through that, and the margin of error is so small, and you've got so many teams to talk about, and you've got so much information on every single team, and they have other ones that all those boxes checked, and we just moved to the next one and made some more difficult decisions. And we had other ones, Kilgore, which was number 11, I think, in the seeding, in the polls, didn't make the national tournament. Another one was McLennan. They were like 18th, and they didn't make it. I think a lot of discussion was talked about the last 4 in, last 4 out, and especially with Daytona playing so well in their regional tournament, district tournament. They beat Eastern Florida, and then they got Gulf Coast, and they really played Chipola really well, and so they got that last bid. So it just worked out where we just want to follow the Constitution and bylaws, the handbook, and then all the things we look at kind of set the table the way it went.
Yeah, and it was a very talented bubble this year, and a lot of hard decisions did have to get made. From a seeding standpoint, what were the big points of discussion around the entire seeding of the tournament field?
Well, I think we've really tried to emphasize and encourage teams to play Division I NJCAA opponents. That's one. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't play Division II teams, because there's a lot of really great Division II, and like in our Region 11, we've got really good teams, and they would compete at a high level Division I, and then also the next one was Division III. We want to play NJCAA opponents, get away from the prep schools, get away from the NCAA JVs, all that, and kind of like I said, set the table for them to be in a good place. When you can look at how many Division I games they had, that's number one. Next one is how they do against those, and then also we look at how good are those opponents? What's the strength of schedule against those teams? We look at the winning percentage of those teams they played. So we're even out further than that just to see how strong their region is on the side of competition. We've got great, and I mean great, conferences around the country. And if you can go through that whole thing, the whole gauntlet, the whole regular season, the preseason, the conference season, and then have a great regional tournament or district tournament, and then kind of put yourself in a place where you can be discussed and picked if that works. And then it's the other one is, if you stub your toe along the way, it can hurt you any single time. I mean, it could be during the season, you stub your toe a little bit, or it's during the regional or district tournament, you stub your toe. And it's really important that you play to your best all the time and play the best opponents you can and kind of carry on that way and just put yourself in a good position to be picked and at least discussed and at the table when those decisions are made.
Yeah, and all in all, it's a pretty deep tournament field and a lot of different teams competing for a national title in Hutchinson, Kansas. So what are your thoughts about the depth of talent across these 24 teams?
Well, it was really difficult on the side of when you get the 8 teams at large picked. Now you go back in the real tough starts, I think. I mean, it's really tough to do the at large. I get those are tough decisions to make. But then when you get into where you have to set the whole table, set the whole tournament up in the bracket, and you start to put where do those at large teams fit into the overall 24 teams? Where do those 16 teams that automatically qualify, where do they fit? And how do you kind of bring those together and put them into one unbelievable tournament? I think we did that. We really worked on a couple things. One is strength of schedule. That's one. 2 is historical background. We looked at how teams have done in the 3, 5, and 10. We look at how the district's done. We look how that team has done when they've gotten to the national tournament before. And I think it's really important that we do everything in our power to make sure that we bring the top 24 and put them in a position to be successful and have a great tournament, which Hutchinson does. It's one of those, I always say this, Hutchinson, Kansas is like the NJCAA. I mean, it's synonymous. There's only a couple things that are synonymous with the NJCAA. You got the baseball tournament, Grand Junction, Hutch, and it's just one of those events that everybody wants to be at, and I wish everybody could experience it, but it's a very select group that get in. But going back to your question on the side of, we really dug into the strength of schedule preseason, strength of schedule during the season, and then the last was the district or the regional tournament and how they did there. Some people really put themselves in a great position to move up the ladder. Another one's kind of stubbed their toe, like I mentioned, and put themselves in a tough position.
That's all I had for you, Tom. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up?
Well, I'm fortunate. I've got an unbelievable staff in my office. Lori Dotree does an unbelievable job of just purely putting this spreadsheet together with all the information we have. And we've had some really good conversations with other entities out there of how they do things. And it's helped us kind of just set that table, like I've said numerous times. And then our committee is absolutely 100% focused on what is it we're looking for. What we're looking for is right in the handbook. What we're looking for is to put the best 24 teams in Hutchinson, Kansas, and then go there and sit and watch and have a great time. So I'm looking forward to getting there. I'm looking forward to that coaches meeting before. I'm looking forward to just sitting there and the great people of Hutchinson, Kansas, and then also to get to be around the coaches and the players. What I really like is watching these players and all these college Division I, Division II, Division III, NCAA, NAIA there, and just seeing the next step in their educational experience and athletic. So that's the reward, and we're gonna have a great time.
Yeah, excited to see the spotlight on those student athletes in Hutchinson for sure. So, Tom and Donald, thank you so much for hopping on with us and appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
All right, don't go anywhere. When we come back, we talk with Nick Nielsen of JUCO Jam to give us some of his thoughts and takes on the tournament coming up. So that's up next on the NJCAA Network.
Good morning.
Why so serious? Great shot.
Cover's 250. You got it.
Greenside bunker, land short.
Trust your line.
There's plenty of green.
Breaks towards the water.
Lots of coaching today, huh?
We're one up.
When you strive to be the best, you need the right insights. Zurich has insurance solutions and risk strategies to help prepare your business for tomorrow.
For the last 87 years, the NJCAA has provided academic and athletic opportunities to thousands of student athletes. However, several rules make it more challenging for two-year college transfers. Recently, 16 national coaches associations, led by the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association, sent a request for change to NCAA leadership to make the rules the same for all transfers. We commend their leadership and stand together in support of same game, same rules.
Welcome back into the NJCAA Network and this busy D1 men's basketball selection show presented by Digital Scoreboards. Joining us now, one of the hosts of JUCO Jam, Nick Nielsen. Nick, tournament field's out, seeds have been seeded. Really exciting tournament field. What stands out to you?
Well, what stands out to me is I think we have some great opening round matchups. All of the at-large stuff is behind us. Here's what I'm predicting, Zach. As far as I can tell, it's never happened. The number 1 seed, the number 2 seed, and the number 3 seed will all lose in the first round.
Wow. Bold stuff, Nick. What are some of the teams that you are looking for in this tournament field that might be sleeper teams with their seed?
Yeah, so I don't know if you can call them a sleeper team. They've been ranked all year, they've been in the national tournament recently. Daytona State as a 17 seed, that is not who you want to see. Potentially, if you're Howard, the number 1 overall seed, Howard, if they have an Achilles heel, they're a little bit turnover prone. Daytona is going to turn the heat up all the way to 10, and it's going to be a lot of pressure. I think it's a great setup for Daytona. Another matchup that I really like, Barton, New Mexico in the first round. I think whoever wins that game has a great shot at upsetting number 2 CSI. And then Gulf Coast. Gulf Coast, nobody has more ranked wins on the season than Gulf Coast, potentially National Player of the Year Trent Lincoln. They come in as a 14 seed. They will face, if they beat Brunswick, they would play Indian Hills as a 3 seed. That 3 seed is one of those spots, doesn't tend to have a lot of success in the national tournament for whatever reason. So Gulf Coast, I think, is sitting pretty. Those are some higher seeds that I think could do big things in the national tournament.
It's exciting stuff. We're excited to have you guys back in Hutch doing your halftime segment and then post-game interviews with coaches. Really looking forward to that, and then also looking forward to the full preview of this tournament field coming later this week on JUCO Jam. So Nick, thank you so much for your time, and thanks for talking with us today.
You got it. Thanks, Zach.
When we come back, we'll preview the tournament bracket one more time. We're back in a moment.
For the last 87 years, the NJCAA has provided academic and athletic opportunities to thousands of student athletes. However, several rules make it more challenging for two-year college transfers. Recently, 16 national coaches associations, led by the National Fast Pitch Coaches Association, sent a request for change to NCAA leadership to make the rules the same for all transfers. We commend their leadership and stand together in support of same game, same rules.
Welcome back into the NJCAA Network. Thanks to all of those folks that hopped on and did some interviews with us for the selection show. Let's take one final look at the bracket before we wrap up. Again, Howard, Butler, Trinity Valley, Chipola, College of Southern Idaho, Midland, Indian Hills, and Vincennes are your first round byes and top 8 seeds. And then it's Jones, Daytona State, Snow, Trinidad State, Monroe Mineral Area, South Plains, and NOC Enid on the left side, and Barton, New Mexico, Walters State, South Georgia State, Gulf Coast State, and Brunswick, and then Northwest Florida State and Bishop State. March 21st to the 28th, Hutchinson, Kansas. It's going to be an unreal tournament, and we can't wait for it. All of those games on ESPN+. Congratulations to all the teams that made it in. We are excited to see the competition out there in the Midwest, and we will catch you next time.